Right, goalie, pass it, run, cross, header, goal. 2-0, 2-0 up, 2 goals are up. So, hi, you are already here. Sorry, I was just really engrossed in my new game. You know what? With technology advancing to a new level each day, we can hardly decide what is actually real and what appears to be real. Yes, you got me right. I am talking about these virtual reality games which have hit the market. What a range they have! And surprisingly, these games actually sync your memory with that of the computer. You don't believe me? Read this science fiction story with me now. It is called Virtually True, and I am sure you will not only understand, but you will agree with what I am saying. But before we delve ourselves into the virtual world of our story, here's a bit about the author himself. Paul Stewart was born in London in 1955 and is a writer of children's books. He is best known for his 3 series, which is the Edge Chronicles, the Freelance novels, and the Far-Flung Adventure series. He wrote them in collaboration with the illustrator Chris Riddle. Paul Stewart lives in the British seaside city of Brighton. Paul Stewart started writing at a very young age, for that matter. He started writing at the age of 7, and he wrote a series about a snail called Oliver, and he started a sequel to the Phantom Toll Booth just at the age of 10. Some of the ideas from this early work were later developed and became the basis of The Thought Domain, which was published in 1988. It was then followed by a number of children's and young adult novels. He writes mainly in the genres of thriller, horror, and sci-fi or fantasy. Until date, the only adult book that Paul Stewart has written is Trek, published in 1991. So there was a tad bit of information about the author. Let us now get on with reading the story. Virtually True by Paul Stewart. Sebastian Schultz. It isn't a name you come across every day, but there it was, large and clear, at the top of the newspaper article in front of me. The reader of the newspaper was a big woman. I couldn't see her face, but I could hear her wheezy breath. Miracle recovery, the headline said. Sebastian Schultz, a 14-year-old schoolboy from South London, awoke yesterday from a coma that doctors feared might last forever. It couldn't be the Sebastian Schultz I'd met. I leant forward to read the rest of the article. 6 weeks ago, Sebastian Schultz was badly injured in a motorway accident. His condition on arrival at the General Hospital was described as critical but stable. Despite the doctor's hopes, the boy did not regain consciousness. His parents were informed that their son was in a coma. At a press conference, Mrs. Schultz said, "The doctors were doing all they could, but in our hearts we know we needed a miracle. Now that miracle has happened." At that moment, the woman's hand moved. I suddenly saw the photograph that went with the story and gasped. The boy in the picture was Sebastian. There was no doubt. But how? I muttered. Sebastian Schultz, the boy I'd got to know so well recently, had apparently been in a coma for all that time? I felt nervous and shivery. It didn't make any sense at all. Interesting. As per what we've read so far, this is yet another story that is narrated in first person. That means the person narrating the story is relating incidents from his or her own life. Now, in this part of the story, the narrator begins by introducing the character as Sebastian Schultz. he has chanced upon an article in a newspaper about someone called Sebastian, of course. And according to the narrator, Sebastian was not a common name then. And as soon as he read it, he was reminded of this other boy at the same time. There was a woman with noisy breath who held the newspaper. The narrator also tells us that the headline told of a miracle recovery of a 14-year-old boy named Sebastian who had recovered from a coma. It was not less than a miracle, as the doctors feared that this coma would last forever. So the narrator wondered that the boy he met could actually be this fellow that is mentioned in the newspaper. He got curious, and so he bent forward to read the remaining article. The article he read further that 6 weeks ago, Sebastian Schultz was seriously injured in a car accident. He was admitted to the general hospital immediately, where the doctors conditioned this boy to be critical but stable at the same time. And they hoped that he would regain consciousness, but he was in a coma for that moment, and they feared his coma would last forever. His parents had been informed about the condition, and in fact, even in a press conference, his mother, Mrs. Schultz, told the reporters that despite all the efforts of the doctor, they needed a miracle for Sebastian to come into consciousness again. This indicates that they had lost hope that this boy could ever come out or turn around his condition. We see that the miracle referred to in Sebastian had happened, finally. The woman was holding her newspaper, and then she decided to shift her hand. Sebastian's photo was then revealed and visible to the narrator. He was shocked to see that that same boy in the newspaper was the same Sebastian he had met recently. And he was confused. He couldn't understand how both the boys could be the same at the same time. Strange, isn't it? But how did the narrator come to know about this boy, Sebastian? And who is the narrator? Tutormate. For more amazing video lectures, download the free app on the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store.